Hi, Heather.
Hey Mike, how are you?
Good. You're looking good this Thursday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You too. I like your shirt.
Oh, I always look the same.
So how have you been? Have you done anything new, anything fun and interesting?
Yeah, we are in the midst of my busy travel season. I
Ooh.
see our last live stream was July 13th. And since then, I did one trip to Washington State, where I'm proud to say I climbed Mount Olympus, not to be confused with the one in Greece. This was a big 5 day backpacking trip. My last newsletter was part one of two about that, if anyone's interested. And then last week, I went to what's called the Family Vacation Center at UC Santa Barbara, where they take guests and you stay in the dorms and you do activities all week long. And that's always fun. We've been doing that for like 20 years now.
Oh, cool. That sounds like fun. So what kind of activities do they have over there?
Oh, it all depends on the age group. So for the kids, there is like kids like time every day where you drop off your kids and they do age appropriate things from babies all the way through high school. And for the adults, there's all kinds of things you can do. Like there's a trivia night and karaoke night and surfing lessons, tennis lessons, stand-up paddleboarding lessons, kayak lessons, hikes, bike rides. And then they give you this schedule, and at any given time, there's probably like five different things to choose from to do,
Oh,
and
wow.
they feed you well, and I think it's great. We've been coming back, like I said, for like 20 years. And if anyone's interested, go to look up Family Vacation Center, and I think their website is familyvacationcenter.com. And
Awesome.
we usually do week 7. So if you wanted to do it with me, that would be the time to do it.
Okay, cool. That sounds so neat.
Yep. Thank you.
Awesome. So, do you have anything coming up that you're looking forward to?
So I'm looking forward to Burning Man. I'm
Oh,
returning this year. I will arrive there on August 28th and leave on September 4th. So yeah, looking forward to that. If anyone else is going, any of my fans, contact me somehow if you want to get together, and I will try to explain how. And yeah, so really looking forward to that.
and the best way to contact you is to go to your website, go all the way down to the bottom where it says contact, and then fill out the form.
Yep, or you can send me a private message through Wizard of Vegas.
Okay. And it takes a couple days to respond and everything.
I hate to say a couple days. Some days, I might reply immediately, and if I'm on a trip, it might take 2 weeks. So I
Okay.
hate to give any promises there.
Well, at least people know like the time range.
Yep. So before we get into any questions, I have a little rant. And my rant is about red roof inns, in particular the one at the Seattle airport. This place I felt was extremely rude, and they don't even have a bathroom for the public in the lobby. They obviously have one, but they won't tell you the code, even for staying guests. And yeah, I will never, ever, ever stay in a red roof inn again. So I don't want to go through all the details why I'm so angry about it, but suffice to say, they are definitely on my blacklist.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry you had that bad experience. That really
Well,
sucks.
you can't go through life without some bad experiences, but to offset that,
That's true.
let me give a couple of plugs. So there was a very good hotel that I switched to after my awful experience with the Red Roof Inn, and I'm looking at the map right now. I should have had this ready to go. Um, so looking for International Boulevard. Um, where was it? Shoot. I hate to waste time while I'm looking for this, but I also wanted to put in a good plug for a place I just ate at here in Vegas. It's just called Tacos, The Taco Stand. And it's a very simple place on East Desert Inn. But boy, the food there is fantastic. It was some of the best tacos I've ever had, but they also have burritos and churros and variety kind of Mexican beers. And, you know, looking at it, it's nothing fancy. It looks like a fast food place, but the food is just outstanding. So big thumbs up to the Taco Stand.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, shall we get today started?
Yes, and I believe you have some trivia. Right?
Yep. So, in honor of your traveling, I do have a traveling trivia.
All right.
And the very first question that I have for everyone is, how many wonders of the world are there? So
Okay.
if you know the answer, put it in the chat. And as we are waiting for everyone to answer, we will answer casino questions. And you are correct, Mike.
Yes.
You got it. Nice. Okay, so Northern Jim is the first question of the day, and he asks, fluke or hidden statistical gem? I consistently get much better outcomes at aces, fives on double deck when they shuffle more often, 40% versus 60 to 70% penetration, which is the opposite of high-low.
I would say that's a fluke. The deeper the penetration, the more you should be winning if you're a card counter. But of course, in the short run, volatility is more important than advantage. So I would say that you've just been getting lucky with the shallow penetration games.
Okay. So let's go on to another one, since that one was an easy question. Today is National Lazy Day. What do you two do after a hard day's work to be lazy and relax?
I did not know that about today. I forgot to be lazy. That gives me an excuse for the rest of the day. So I enjoy to just relax. So I enjoy going through whatever show on that I'm streaming or watching something that I've recorded in the past, like 60 Minutes or the Brian Gumbel sports show. Right now, by the way, I'm going through Dark Winds, which I really enjoy. So, and I also just enjoy dinking around on YouTube, and I enjoy playing Yahtzee with my favorite co-host. And,
it is so much fun.
Yeah, thanks. So we play Yahtzee when I'm home almost every day.
I think we have over 1,000 games recorded.
We should by now, because we usually we play until the first person wins 3 games, so that can take up to 7. And we've been doing this for at least a year. So
it's been
1,000 sounds about right.
I think we've been doing it for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so probably more than 1,000. So let's say we play an average of 5 games a day, so that would be about 1,825 a year.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. So it's fun though. I really enjoy that. I always look forward to that.
Yeah, I never get bored with it.
When you beat me by one, oh my God.
Heather beat me by 3 yesterday in a high-scoring game too. And that game, I had 2 Yahtzees, but I already put a 0 in them, so I didn't get credit for them.
That was it really just depends on luck. Yeah. So anyway, what I do afterwards is I draw. I love drawing. I love painting. Love doing that. And I play video games. So huge video game fan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so I think we about covered that question.
Okay, so let's see if we have any answers to the trivia question. And Wolfgar says 7, and you are correct. There are 7 wonders of the world. Woo!
Yes.
Good job. So our next trivia question is which 2 countries share the world's longest international border?
Okay.
So if you guys know, put that in the chat. We also had quite a few other people say 7. So cool. Kudos to you guys.
I want to get back to something. The place that I want to plug is called Sure Stay by Best Western, in particular the one at the Seattle airport. After my awful experience with the Red Roof Inn, they treated me much more nicely and compassionately as opposed to following the rules rigidly. So I would be happy to patronize them again. Okay, so the question is, which 2 countries share the longest border, right?
Yep.
Okay, I think I have a good one for that.
Okay. And if you guys know, put the answer in the chat. Let's see what you said, Mike. You are correct. You got 2 for 2.
Yes.
Nice. And our next question comes from Technics, who says, what is the better game? 3-2 with no surrender and double on any 2 cards. I am blanking on what DAS means at the moment. Hits off 7.
After a split.
Thank you.
So I believe free bet blackjack. Yeah, let me go to my site real quick. So games, click on F. Free bet blackjack. So the house advantage in free bet blackjack is 1.04%, whereas those blackjack rules are going to be significantly less. Let me look at them again. 3-2, no surrender, double any 2 cards, double after split, hits off 17. That's probably going to be around 0.4%. So we've got 0.4% versus 1%. So the conventional blackjack is significantly better.
Awesome. And then we have another question from Wolfgar. And Wolfgar says, any thoughts on why Pai Gow Poker is almost exclusively face up now in Vegas? It has taken the strategy out of the game.
That's a good question, and I'm afraid I don't have a good answer to it. I personally like a face down, a conventional Pai Gow Poker better. I speculate maybe the face up version gets more hands per hour, and which is very important to the casinos. And ultimately, it just must make more money than the conventional version. But why players like it so much, I'm not sure, because there's basically no strategy to it. And frankly, when it first came out, I thought it was a stupid idea. But I was proven wrong about that one. So that's about the best I can do with that question.
Okay. And let's see if we have an answer to the trivia. We have, let's see, Russia and US doesn't need to be a land border. Okay. We have, here we go. Canada and USA. Vince got it. Good job, Vince. And Yes Notes comes in second place. Very good. So our next trivia question is, the Great Barrier Reef can be found off of what country?
I know.
Wow, 3 for 3. You are right.
I'm good at geography, to be honest with you. Okay.
And you travel so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I try. Okay. I have a couple of questions from the forum. So
Okay.
can we do those before I forget?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so Tin Man asks, are discretionary comps a thing of the past? I was playing at a table game for $25 for 4 hours. I asked for a comp at the buffet, and the pit boss said, oh, you have enough comp dollars to cover it. When I started gambling about 20 years ago, it was common to get a voucher after playing for much less time. Yeah, so you've observed the same kind of thing that everybody has is for all but the top level of gamblers, it's almost all based on points now, and so that's just the way it is. At the higher levels, it gets a little bit discretionary, but even then, they're going to tap in your player number into a computer and see what you played and what you've already received, and if it looks like that that what you have received is significantly less than what you've given the casino, they'll probably issue you a comp, but they'll put it in the system and it will get charged against your account somehow. You may not see how, but but these things are pretty carefully tracked, whether it's all very out in the open with points or it's a little bit more secret to the player. So yeah, that's just the order of the day these days.
I think it's I really like the old mob days as far as giving comps go, because they would just freely give out everything and anything, and it was just wonderful.
Yep, I agree. I yearn for the old days too.
Yeah, and then corporate comes in and they're like penny pinchers.
Yeah, you know what? Old timer doesn't say what we just said.
True.
Okay, so Tin Man also asks, why do shoes max out at 8 decks? Wouldn't it be better for a casino to have 10, 12, 24 deck shoes? I'm guessing automatic shufflers only can handle 8 decks, but hand shuffle games can do more. Is there any company that makes shoes that won't make any larger than 8 decks? So that's another good question. So I will say that I have heard, and I can't confirm this, but I've heard that in Baccarat at the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore, they're using 10 deck shoes now. However, those come all pre-shuffled, and so you don't need to run those through a shuffler. But I do think that they should make automatic shufflers that can handle more than 8 decks. I see no reason not to, especially for games like mini Baccarat or Blackjack. The casinos would just simply get more hands per hour with a bigger shoe. And I don't understand why everybody isn't doing this. So that is my answer there.
Cool. Okay. Do you want to do the answer to the trivia question, or you want to do one more question?
Let's do the trivia.
Okay. So the answer the answer to the trivia question was Australia, and Wolf got that. Congratulations, Wolf. Woo. And we had a lot of people come in second and third place, so good job, you guys. And then our next trivia question is, located in Africa, what is the largest, hottest desert in the world? So if you guys know, put the answer in the chat. And as we are waiting, we will answer some questions. Yep, you were right.
Yay,
good job, Mike. 4 out of 4. Woo!
All right, let's do the gambling question.
Okay, sounds good. So let's go back up to the gambling questions. And we have our next question is from, let's see, Technics, who says, in Blackjack, I'm trying to convince a friend that it's mathematically correct to hit on a 16 when the dealer has a 10. What percent of the time will the dealer win if the player stands?
So the if the player stands, the dealer will win about 75% of the time, which sounds like a lot. But the alternative, but if you hit, it's nearly just as bad. It's a little bit better if you hit. So it's a terrible situation to be in. But the lesser of two evils is to hit that. And if you're given the option to surrender, of course, take that option. But speaking of 16 against a 10, it's a very marginal play. And if you want to improve your odds by just a little bit, if your 16 has a 4 or a 5 in it, which can only happen if it's 3 or more cards, then you should stand, because those 4s and 5s are what you want to push a 16 to a 20 or 21. So that's what I personally do. And if I'm not counting, it's the only basic strategy exception that I will make.
Cool. And then we got one more, and this one is from Vince. And Vince asks, sports books are hot, hot, hot right now, with more than 215 online sports books available. Do you guys take advantage of the promos?
Yeah, unfortunately here in Vegas, they're really stingy with the promotions for Nevada players, but the other states have been quite generous, the ones that have legalized it. And I have played with the help of friends that place these bets in other states to take advantage of these promotions, and we split the win 50-50. But unfortunately, my name has evidently been passed out from place to place, and my accounts have been closed right and left. When I try to make a bet, the account immediately gets closed and they return my deposit. So so that's what's happened to me with that. But before the sports books realize that they're being too generous, I would take advantage of any good promotions you can find for signing up for new accounts if you don't live in Nevada.
Very cool. Do you want to do one more question, or you want to do the trivia answer?
Let's do the trivia.
Okay, so we got a winner, and it was Dalbrixon, who said it's the Sahara Desert.
Yep.
Yay. Awesome. Good job. So our next one is...
Here's a side question. What is the driest desert in the world as measured by precipitation?
The driest desert?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's just do that trivia question.
Okay.
So if you guys know, put it in the chat. I am putting my guess in our private chat to see. Is that right?
Nope.
Ha, okay. So if you guys know, put it in the chat. And while we're waiting, our next question comes from GD, who says, out of curiosity, do you have any anecdotes of casinos rigging games and getting busted for it? For example, making bad blackjack shoes by taking out face cards, or somehow rigging roulette?
With land casinos, I don't have any good examples because they're very well regulated. There was a scam here in Vegas recently where a lot of video poker machines in the bars were not paying out royals on a natural basis, but were somehow withholding about half of them. So I would say that if there were cheating in a casino, it's probably not the casino that's doing it, but it's probably a dishonest dealer. And that definitely does happen. Is there are cheating dealers that will give good cards to their friends, and they split up the money quietly later, and they might cheat recreational players that they don't know, so that it doesn't look like their table loses too much. And that's about as far as I can take that one. It's not exactly my area of expertise.
I only can say about Las Vegas casinos because I was a Las Vegas casino dealer for 5 years, which isn't really that long. But no, I have never in my whole career seen any casinos cheat. Um, the thing I would see is superstitious floor supervisors go with like luck and gut feelings. But that's not exactly cheating. That's just really bad management. Um, and like the wizard was saying with dealers, the dealers would be the ones cheating, but they would typically be stealing from casinos. I never saw dealers or floor supervisors steal from actual players. It was always they were working with another player or two players or in a team, and they would steal money from the casino. So
Yep. Okay.
okay,
Can I address my trivia answer?
yeah, let's do it.
So I see we only have one correct answer, which is by Dal Brixen, which is Antarctica. So you might be surprised to hear that because Antarctica is so cold. But what counts for a desert is below a certain threshold of precipitation. And Antarctica gets almost no precipitation because it's so cold, you don't get much water evaporating. And you must get, and then, so there's not much moisture in the air there. It's very dry. And
That
so,
was a good one.
yeah, so, yep, the answer is Antarctica.
Woo. Do you want to do another question or you want me to throw one out there?
Why don't you do the next one?
Okay, sounds good. The Sydney Opera House is a famous landmark for this country. The Sydney Opera House is a famous landmark for this country.
That's too easy.
Yep, you got it. You are 5 for 5, Mike.
I have done the tour there, by the way.
What did you think?
It was pretty much exactly what I was expecting. And it's not just one opera house, but there's like a bunch of different venues within it, and they talked a lot about the process of choosing the design for it, and it went ridiculously over budget, and yeah, it was pretty much just what I was expecting.
Okay. How many times have you been to Australia?
Twice.
Okay, cool. Okay, shall we go on to our next casino question?
Yes.
Okay. So this is from Northern Jim, who says, at Pai Gow Poker, a 6-card straight with no pairs, is there a point where it's best to split the two lower singletons to keep a slightly better straight together?
Okay, I've never been asked this one before. If I had a 6-card straight with no pairs, is there a point where it's better to split the two lower singletons? No, I haven't actually analyzed this, but I would absolutely play the highest singletons that you can to retain a straight. So I would play the low straight and the high card at the high end of that 6-card straight, and then whatever the other card is. And
the way,
because all straights are roughly equally value, but it helps a lot to improve the high card in the 2-card hand. So I'm quite confident the answer is no to that, but I haven't ever actually analyzed it.
the house way is actually what you said, Mike. So you said the house way, and if the house way says to do it, that way is probably the best way to do it.
Now, yeah, the house play is actually not always right. For example, the house way policy on splitting a 2-pair is really pretty poor, and the player can gain, I don't remember how much, but it's not an insignificant amount of advantage if he follows my wizard rule for splitting a 2-pair in Pai Gow Poker, which is on my website and in my book, but I don't want to explain the whole thing right right now.
Okay. So our next question comes from Jason. Do you expect to see dealer mistakes in Ultimate Texas Hold'em? What sort of error rate do you think is likely?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't see them very often, probably once every like 2 hours of play. And I find that usually these mistakes go against the player. However, I do know that it's an advantage play to play UTH looking for errors, and the house advantage in UTH is already really low, just 0.5% as measured by everything that you bet. And if the player can just get, say, one error an hour to flip his way, that's way more than enough to overcome that house advantage. And I do think that they pass around names of dealers and shifts and casinos that don't deal the game very well. So yeah, that's definitely an advantage play. I don't like to do advantage plays like that because I feel it's not very sporting, and I think it's also a little bit dishonest to not call out a dealer when they make an error that cuts your way. But it definitely is a thing.
Okay. So let's see if we have any answers to the trivia question. And it looks like Marsuio. I probably butchered that name. I'm sorry. You are correct. It is Australia.
I think it's Mauricio.
Oh, you do way better than me. I am so sorry for butchering your name.
Mauricio Baglieri.
Oh,
That's
okay.
how I would pronounce it.
Do you know how to speak? What is that, French?
I'm pretty good at Spanish, but I think that name was Italian.
Okay.
I'm sure he can tell us in the comments.
So I'll be watching for that. Okay, so our next trivia question is that one is too easy. You don't want an easy one.
I've got one.
Okay.
Okay. What, in no particular order, are the 4 most populous countries in the world?
Okay, so if you guys know that, put that in the chat. That's a good one to ask. And then our next gambling question comes from, let's see here. Lots of statements. Just one sec. Okay, this isn't really a question. Mr. Wizard, why are your eyeglasses so big?
Well, it's basically because I'm getting older, and I just, I like big glasses, and I only use these for reading and computer work. My long distance vision is just fine. And yeah, sadly, as you get older, your muscles get smaller, and they're not as strong, and especially the muscles in the eyes. So, just is what it is. The first things to go are the things that are not very essential, like the hair. That's why the hair turns gray, and men lose it, because you don't really need hair. So the body saves its energy for the vital organs like the heart, and lets other stuff go.
That was a way better answer than my answer. My answer would have been, I like big glasses and I cannot lie. These other brothers can't deny. That would have been my answer.
I'm sure that's a song you're familiar with, and I'm not. Unless you're improvising.
So our next question is from Paul. Do you have any advice for anyone considering moving to Las Vegas?
Yeah, I could talk about this one for a while. I would recommend living on the west side because it's a little bit cooler, and I think it's, I don't know, in temperature, and I think that I don't know. I think it has less of a cookie cutter feel than the east side of Las Vegas. And and what else might I say? I think people probably know the pros and cons of Vegas in general. I will say that if you move here, don't surrender your previous ID from wherever you're moving from, because the casinos here are very stingy with locals. So if you play under, say that you're from Maryland or wherever you're coming from, and show that old license to them, and say that you want to get any mail by email, and you will get treated much better. So that is a quick piece of advice that I wish someone had told me when I moved here.
That's some really good piece of advice. That's awesome. I love that.
And the DMV will want that driver's license from your old state if you ask for a Nevada one. But just either get a duplicate one before you leave, or just say that you lost it. But yeah, don't give that up.
The DMV in Las Vegas likes to collect the license plate, the driver's license. Do you have a Nevada license plate that you were able to keep?
Oh, I have lots of them.
Okay.
Like if they ask for your license plates, just give them one of them, and I don't think they will say anything.
Okay, cool. My advice when moving to Las Vegas is the west side and the south side are better. Henderson is good too. I probably wouldn't move north or east, just because in the old days, this doesn't apply now. In the old days, that used to be where the more crime was, but now there's just crime everywhere, so it doesn't really matter where you move. And make sure you have a really good air conditioner.
Yep. Yeah, and expect it to break every whatever the lifespan is. But in my
10
20
years.
here, I think I'm on my third set of air conditioners.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Las Vegas is hard on air conditioners.
Yep.
Our next question comes from Technics. What is the best and worst of the major sports to bet on?
If you don't care what you bet on, I would bet on baseball, but only do it against a 10-cent line, meaning like it's plus 130 on the underdog and minus 140 on the favorite. So there's only 10-point difference. You only see that in baseball for some reason, and not in every sports book. I'm pretty sure the William Hill books are only 10 points apart. And, otherwise, I don't think it makes too much difference. Yeah, most other sports are, in fact, I'm pretty sure all of them are on, if it's just like which team will win or an over and under, they're 20 basis points apart.
Awesome.
So that's my advice there.
Cool. Okay, let's see if we have an answer to the trivia question. And is it China, India, US, and Brazil?
3 of those were right. The China, India, and US are all right, but the other one is not Brazil. And I see someone else said Russia. I see someone said Africa, which is not a country. So let me peruse the answers here. No, it's not Japan. It's definitely not Italy. Africa is spelled with a C, by the way. No, it's not Russia. Yeah, Vince is right. Indonesia is number 4. So China and India right now are basically tied for first and second. And population numbers are not accurate enough to know exactly who is on top right now. But then it's the United States, and Indonesia is 4th.
Awesome. Very cool.
Okay, here's another one. Unless you want to ask one, Heather.
No, you go for it.
Okay, what are the 6 smallest countries in Europe?
Okay, so if you guys know the answer to that, put that in the chat.
Yep.
And while we were waiting, we're going to ask another question from the chat. If you guys have a question for Mike, go ahead, put that in the chat. Our next question comes from H. Lamb, who says, can you send a postcard from the US? We just got here from New Zealand, full of post offices and mailing boxes. Here, only a big gold relic in the lobby of the Apache. Not sure if any posties collect from it.
Yeah, just put down an address and I will send you a postcard from the US.
Oh, that was nice.
Sure.
That's cool. But yeah, we should basically be able to send postcards from anywhere, I think, right?
Yep. You have to pay more postage for an international. But speaking of stamps, I want to warn everybody is that my Facebook feed is full of ads for fake stamps, and they're always forever stamps, but they're not legitimate. They look legitimate, but they're just simply not. And I don't know why Facebook puts up with this, but do not buy your stamps from some other country or dubious website.
Cool. Okay, so our next question comes from Jason. When are you planning to come to Sydney next?
No particular plans. Both previous trips to Australia, I went to Sydney. So my next visit, I'm probably going to go to a different part of Australia. In fact, I would like to travel across Australia from the east side all the way to Perth, but no particular plans at this time, I'm afraid.
Okay. And our next question comes from Spiderfly, who says Rivers Casino, which is new in Virginia and opened back in January. Yesterday, the casino closed due to a loss of power. How much do you think they lost that day? Not sure if they have opened as of yet.
Yeah, I'd really need to know how big the casino is. Yeah, frankly, I would really kind of hesitate to hazard a guess. But you say yesterday, which would have been a Wednesday. I would imagine it might have been a little bit slow on a Wednesday. But these things happen, cost of doing business. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Okay. Our next question comes from Uvidiot, who says the F1 race has ruined any chance of our typical Thanksgiving week Vegas visit. Do you have any anecdotes about family members avoiding Thanksgiving travel to Vegas this year?
Yeah, no. I have no anecdotes on that whatsoever. I spoke to someone recently who's thinking of coming for that. Yeah. Simple answer is no. Nobody has told me they're not coming because of that. But I would absolutely not come during the Formula One race if you're not going for that reason, because everything is going to be super expensive. They're going to block off the strip, and the whole city is just going to be expensive and difficult to navigate. So, yeah, I would have nothing to do with Vegas at that time.
Yeah. So Mauricio says that you are, you got it. You are correct. And you were correct about it being Italian.
Grazie.
Okay. So our next question comes from Simple Man, who says, does video poker play differ depending on which state you are playing in?
As long as it's legitimate video poker, it should play the same way, where every card has the same chance. But some some states allow, how shall I put it, games that look like video poker but really are not. They are really like pull tab games where the outcome is predestined, and they just use cards as a way to show you what you win. In fact, when I was just in Washington in July, I only saw a few video poker games, and they were not legitimate video poker. I don't remember the name of the game off the top of my head, but it was called like Lucky Card Video Poker or something like that. And I think that legitimate video poker is just simply not legal in Washington, and so that's why they get around that with some illegitimate games. So be careful with video poker outside of the really big markets like Nevada, California, Mississippi, and New Jersey.
Good advice. You mean there's not slot machines in grocery stores all across the country? I thought that was a normal thing.
No, I've never seen one in a grocery store outside of Nevada, but
Man,
I wasn't trying to make that point, but just to be careful about games that look like video poker in small markets. Like I know that in Iowa, I saw some what were obviously illegitimate video poker games. And in Oregon, they have really weird ones too. And I don't want to say those ones are illegitimate, but they were. But I tend to think that they are. Yeah, Oregon is another weird state where, for some reason, in lots of pizza parlors, there's like a little gambling room that will only have like 6 games. And again, for some reason, you can only see them in pizza parlors. Very weird.
Okay. So we just did that one. Do you want to go to the answer to the trivia question?
Okay, let's look at that. Okay.
Okay, so Dalbrixen says Vatican, Monaco, Liechtenstein, and Andorra.
Okay, those are 4 of the 6. So, and I did mean by landmass as simple landmass, but I think the answer might be the same either way. Okay, so there's 2 more that I'm looking for that I just wrote down. Luxembourg is not one of them. Okay, I see that Gene mentioned San Marino, which is another one. And he wrote Kosovo. I'm sure he meant Kosovo, which is not. Macedonia is not. Luxembourg is too big. And let's see what else we got. Again, Luxembourg is not. St. Martin, I think that's in the Caribbean. Liechtenstein, Isle of Man is not a country. Northern Ireland is part of the is I guess you could call that a country, but it's not right. As well as Scotland and Wales are not right. Yeah, so I'm not seeing the number 6 country. Give you guys a little bit more time, but there's one more that I'm looking for.
Okay.
Meanwhile, ask me a gambling question.
Our next one comes from Simple Man, who says, if you were going to choose a game to learn with the goal of being a profitable gambler, which game would you choose?
That's a good question. I hate to just say a single game, because right now we're not in an era of advantage play where one game is really king anymore. For a while, it was Blackjack, and then it was video poker. And then I would say that with internet casinos, just internet bonus hunting was really good. And in the early days of online poker, that was good. But right now, it's not so much about the game, but it's more about the promotions. And so that is my advice there. I wouldn't look at so much just one game, but I would be looking at promotions, especially with things like online sports books, which we already talked about. And
Okay.
that is my answer to that one.
Sounds cool.
Okay. So by the way, the correct answers we've heard so far are Vatican, Monaco, Andorra, Liechtenstein, and San Marino. We need one more.
Okay. And Vince wanted to comment real quick that his local casino averages 200,000 a day.
Okay, so that's that would be a good basis point for that Virginia question we had earlier.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to go through trivia answers?
Okay. No, it is not Iceland. And I think that I have not seen the right answer, so I'm just going to have to tell you guys. Number 6 is Malta.
Oh, Malta.
Yep.
Okay.
So good job, group, about getting 5 out of 6.
Well, you guys did better than me. I got 0 out of 6. Okay, so our next our next trivia question is what material is the Leaning Tower of Pisa made from? What material is the Leaning Tower of Pisa made from? So if you know, put the answer in the chat. What's your guess, Mike?
Do you see mine?
Nope. Yeah, not it. Oh my God, you got one wrong. You had such a perfect streak.
Okay, well, I don't know everything.
So while we're waiting for you guys to put your answer in the chat, our next gambling question comes from Simple Man, who says, if you were going to choose a game to learn, we already did that one. Okay. Is Pai Gow Poker Fortune the only side bet with a house edge that varies based on the number of people who play it? And this is from Northern Jim.
No, any side bet that has an envy bonus, and lots of them do, will have a house advantage that depends on the number of players. And the more the players, the lower the house advantage.
Okay. Our next one is from Vidiot. Do you care at all about the breakup of the Pac-12 conference, aside from beautiful symmetry being ruined?
I have no opinion about that at all, and I don't know much about it.
Next question comes from Christian. Is it possible to win in online live blackjack like Playtech websites?
Yeah, with online casinos that have live dealers, card counting is especially convenient because you can enter into an app every single card that you see, and it will give you an exact advice on what to do and what your advantage is at any given time, based on the exact composition, not an estimate like using a card counting system. However, the casinos know this, and they have a rather shallow penetration, and I do think that they look for this, so don't be too aggressive with it. But just based on anecdotal evidence, I do believe that players are doing this, is card counting live dealer blackjack games. So that's about all I can say to that one.
Cool. And then our last question is, how bad is the game Crapless Craps?
It's only slightly worse than regular craps on the pass line bet. And I think, so the pass line bet has a house advantage of 1.41% in regular craps, and in crapless craps, let me look it up real quick, but I know it's a little higher. It is 2.936%. So it's over, the house advantage on the pass line is over twice as high in Crapless Craps.
Okay.
Let me give a second answer on Leaning Tower of Pisa.
No, you're wrong on that one. So the answer to the Leaning Tower of Pisa question, we do have a winner, and that is from Dalbrickson, who says marble. It was made from marble. Yeah.
Well, couldn't I argue that marble is a kind of rock? I said rocks.
No, I think marble is a different type of rock.
But it's a type of rock. Let's go to Wikipedia real quick. Marble is a metaphoric rock consisting of carbonate minerals that recrystallize under the influence of heat pressure and aqueous solutions. So notice it is a type of rock. So my original answer was rocks. Therefore, I contest you saying I was wrong.
I feel like I should have like a drum beat in the background, like da dun dun.
Now, I think what you should have said is I needed to be more specific.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, but I am saying that I was not wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you guys have any questions for Mike, gambling related, please put it in the chat. We have
4 minutes to go. Get your questions in.
a few more minutes left. We'll do one more trivia question. Do you want to do it or do you want me to do it?
I don't have one ready, so you do it.
Okay. So our next one is, what river runs through London? What river runs through London? What major river?
I know. I'm right, aren't I?
Yep, you got it. Good job, Mike.
Thanks. That was easy, though.
You're welcome. Okay, so while we are waiting for you guys to put an answer in the comments, let's see if there's any more questions in here.
Oh, I've got a good one after we're done with this one.
Okay. Have you watched any of the Strange New Worlds Star Trek show?
Nope.
Oh, you haven't? It's really fun. So real quick, it's fantastic. It's amazing. It's my favorite. They have a musical. They have a scary episode. They have they bring Lower Decks in there where it's half cartoon, half like real. It is the best. I am really loving it, and I look forward to it every single week.
Okay, I think I'll give that a try once I'm done with Dark Winds.
Okay, cool. Have you seen the Succession?
Nope.
Oh,
What's
that's
that
a good
about?
one too. Okay. It doesn't look like we have any more questions. Do we have any questions from the forum?
Nope.
Okay, in that case, we ended early.
Okay, so why don't you give us the river that goes through London?
Okay, so the answer to the trivia question is River Thames, Thames, River
It's pronounced Thames.
Well, I'm glad you're here. And we had several people in the chat actually say it. The person who was the first to get it was Dalbrickson. So Dalbrickson, you win that one. Good job.
Okay. Yep. So here's my question. Speaking of water, in what city in Germany can you go surfing?
Oh, okay. So if you guys know, put that answer in the chat. Where was the Star Trek convention held? It was at the Rio this year. So it's normally at the Rio. They finally went back to the Rio. And question, I already know the answer, but would you ever move seats if you are constantly getting terrible cards?
No. It's as I've said hundreds of times in games of independent trials, the past does not matter. So if I, shall we say, just like the dealer and there were no smokers at my table and otherwise everything was okay, I would just stay right where I was, and it does not matter how bad the previous results were.
Okay. So when is the next time we are going to do a live stream?
Sorry.
Oh, we got music.
Yeah, I wanted to show you a video relating to my last question.
Okay.
No. No. I'm going through my Germany videos.
Oh, okay.
The video of this, but I can't find it. Okay, so let me see if I've got any answers to this place in Germany where you can surf. And H. Lamb got it. It is in Munich. So they have this really great park in Munich. It's very big and it's very nicely done and it's very clean. And Munich has like all these canals that go through it to control the water. And in one of them, there is this bridge, and just the way like they can find the water to go under this bridge, and I think there's some rocks under the water that it creates a wave, and it is always there. So at this point, right after the bridge, there's always a wave that is just the right height, probably like 4 feet high, and a good surfer could surf on it indefinitely. And
Nice.
so it's kind of like I've seen these like on cruise ships that have like a kind of like an artificial wave you can ride on, and it's just like that, and it's right there in the central part of Munich. So it is super cool, and people take their turns riding it, and there's no shortage of surfers wanting to do it. So I thought it was one of the most coolest things that I've seen in Germany. So there you go. The answer is Munich.
Have you ever surfed?
Or München, as they would say Munich in German. It's funny you ask, because I surfed just last week when I was in Santa Barbara. I found a surfboard. Somebody threw it away, and I walked it all the way back to my room, and then later on I walked it to the beach. And I previously have had one surfing lesson years ago, so I gave it a try. And that particular day, the waves were not very big, but I think I got a lot better with like getting on and off the surfboard. Was I ever actually standing on it? No, but I feel like I am much better with the control of a surfboard when you're waiting for a wave. And it may look easy, like you just sit there on the surfboard waiting for a wave, but it's actually not simple to maintain balance on it and paddle around and rotate like when you see a wave coming, because you want to be facing with your back at the wave. So yeah, funny you should ask that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now we just need a picture of this.
My
I'd
wife
love
has
to
a
have-
bunch. She
Oh,
hasn't
yeah?
shown them to me, but I should get those from her.
Oh, thank you.
They're
That's
not going to
awesome.
impress you, trust me.
Real quick, H. Lamb says, Michael, your haircut looks great. Love that style with the bit of wave in it.
Oh, well, thank you. It's really, this was covered in a previous show. I finally got a haircut, I think, in May. And right now, it's already grown out a little bit. So I think that's kind of why you see a little bit of a wave. But yeah, thank you very much.
It looks really nice.
Okay, so when is the next live stream?
That's a good question. H. Lamb says, love you guys.
Period.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. How about, let's do September 7th.
Okay, September 7th. So our next live stream will be on September 7th. If you have a question for Mike, put it in early. The earlier, the better, because we do answer these questions in the order that they are received.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Mike. This has been fun as always.
You're welcome. So yeah, thank you very much for all your help, and thanks audience for showing up and all your questions. And I will see you on September the 7th.
Sweet.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye everybody.
Bye.